Breaking transmission. Still weekend sports. As I said, we have two guests with us in the house. Kosa Emmanuel. He was with us on Wednesday. We talked about the Oyigbo Games Festival.
That's right.
And then we have Mr. Paul Ogunlaja, football agent, and what else?
And the football scout.
And the football scout.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell us, okay, briefly, we'll talk about the Oyigbo Festival before then, but tell us what brings you to Port Harcourt before move to Premier League and then move to the main event.
Okay, basically it's about the Oyigbo Games. My friend Mr. Emmanuel has been hinting me for the past 6 months that, you know, there's going to be some talents in the football section and I should come take a look. So I had to come all the way from places to get here today, just to come see what they have, and I hope to go back with 1, 2, or 3 talents. Yeah.
So Costa, tell us, we'll come to the event properly, but tell us what's happening today, tomorrow, and you know, how long is the event going to be?
Okay, the Oyigbo Games Festival is a 14 days marathon event, and then today being Saturday, you know, we're just having the evening show, you know. And then tomorrow being Sunday, we have the EGT semi-finals.
What is my EGT semi-finals?
The Earth Got Talent. You know, we scouted talent from about 3 states coming into Oyigbo local government, you know, to display their talents. The magicians, the dancers, you know, the drummers, and so on and so forth. So tomorrow at St. James Fountain, you know, just by Mbano camp at Oyigbo, we'll be having the semi-finals. And also we'll be having the cooking competition, you know, finals tomorrow, right there on the same venue.
So when you mean cooking competition, how is it going to be done?
Okay, we want to have the best chef of Ethlonia, you know, like, you know, I'm the founder of the Ethlonia. So we are building a brand and we want to get the best chef in the local government of Oyigbo, you know, so they'll be preparing a goosey soup, you know, that's the first thing they'll be doing. And they want to know who has the best, you know, quality to give us the best chef for, you know, Oyigbo. And after the goosey soup, and then we prepare jollof rice. You know, we've been looking at African jollof and then Ghana jollof and Nigerian jollof. So I want to know who can compete with the Ghanaian jollof. I want to get the best out of Oyigbo local government. So that's what we're doing for today and then tomorrow.
All right, before we move to the Premier League, what's your favorite club in the Premier League?
Arsenal. We are the Gunners. You know, I love Arsenal. I've been an Arsenal fan for a very long time. You know, ever since I knew what football is. You know, even when it got to the time when it was a heartbreak season. You know, a lot of fans ran out of Arsenal, but I stuck to Arsenal. You know,
I'll come to you later on. Let me talk with them, Paul Ogunlaja. We also have one of our friends with us behind the scene. But Paul, which one is your favorite club?
Manchester United.
Man United. What the hell is going on with Man United? You've been losing up and down, Champions League, Premier League.
I think we have a lot of issues from the management down to the players, but it will pass. It's always.
How long is it going to last?
Well,
from Mourinho to...
well, Liverpool too had their own time. Arsenal too had their own phase. So I'm sure Man U will get it right soon.
Okay, we're still waiting for signals from London. Let's talk about the Oyigbo Games Festival. So what's the price? Any monetary and how do you go about scouting and supporting and organizing this event? So many events, football, cooking, so many things there.
You know, I looked at Rivers State at large, not just Oyigbo.
Where are you from, Rivers?
I'm from Delta State, Nigeria.
Okay.
You know, but I grew up in Rivers State. I was born in Rivers State. I'm an indigenous of Rivers State. You know, and I looked at the entertainment, you know, quality in Rivers State. Everybody running to Lagos, you know, and I realized that it is because Lagos has built themselves to that level, you know, and there's no way you can find development in as much as we are all looking for development without looking for the right patterns that triggers development. You know, patterns are triggered by, you know, the quality of things that is being done, and these are prescribed methodologies. You know, they have the ability to reproduce after their kind. It's like the law of gravity. Whatever goes up must come down. So if you must find the right result, we must get the right patterns. So I looked at Rivers and I said, what is going on? Lagos, they have, you know, a system of unity. One person stands up, everybody stands up with that one person. But Rivers State is not like that. So I said, okay, the entertainment has to come into Rivers State, Nigeria. And then I looked at it and I said, okay, we'll form a unity.
But it's starting with Oyigbo because this is basically this.
Yes,
we're
this is
Oyigbo.
Yeah, it's Oyigbo Games Festival, but we are bringing state into Oyigbo local government. Now the vision is to bring the world into.
Do you have the local government chairman working? Have you had the time to meet with the chairman?
Yes, my vice president is the Oyiga Youth President, Mr. Fidelis, Comrade Fidelis, And I think we had a time to talk to the local government chairman, and the local government chairman said they were going to give us their support, but I think they have supported us with what they can support with, but not with finance, and it has been very difficult for me, but I've been pushing. It got to a point when I had to sell my car to making sure that this talent comes out of the street, because we have a lot of good talent, both in the cooking, section, in the football section, and everywhere, but yet they have no platform to showcase their talent. And people are just looking at them, they are dying on the street, going into frauding, and then we are catching them with the police forces, and then we are also looking at them going into prostitution and all that, hook up and everything, because they want to survive. The system is not really working. So what did I do? I said, if I perish, I perish. I'm going to give all I have to making sure that every vision comes to life at the same time.
Okay, we've gotten signals from our guys in London. Paul, we'll talk with you on after this one. We'll talk about the football legends and football program coming up in Oyigbo. But before then, let's connect with the Premier League guys in London for a preview of today's matches in English Premier League.
Perfectly poised, a matchup which defined last season. Arsenal against Manchester City is unmissable. Time to bounce back. Brighton and Liverpool meet at the Amex, looking to put painful defeats behind them. And Luton are finally up and running, next to experience their quirky home or a Tottenham side unbeaten under Ange Postecoglou.
Manchester City, kings of the Premier League.
Arsenal starting the season on fire.
Hat-trick hero! Title credentials underlined. More drop points for Manchester City. Arsenal continue to set the pace. Manchester City back in business. That goal puts it back on track. Unbelievable!
They are hunting down Mikel Arteta's Arsenal.
This is nothing short of a seismic moment in the Premier League title race. City are on the up. Arsenal are in danger of being knocked off the perch now. City get closer and closer. This now feels like the end of the road.
Manchester City, kings of the Premier League again.
The race last season was really important for the development of the Arsenal team because it gave them a different pressure. They're used to playing under pressure because it's Arsenal, and then there's a pressure of actually contending. It's different levels of expectation, and now Arsenal have had that, they'll carry on and they will get better than last season. Whether that getting better is good enough to win the league, we don't know. It needs Man City to have an off-season. That's what's needed for anyone to finish above Man City, and I think whoever does finish above them will win the league.
Odegaard helped on and in. There it is from Ben White.
To me, they're not playing their best football, but they're getting results, which is a fantastic sign. Okay, they've had a defeat in the Champions League, but I've been quietly confident about the team's performances because they've got more to offer, and yet we're still equal second with Tottenham, still unbeaten and playing good, but I know we can do better than that.
Saka hobbling off. Arsenal will be hopeful that that's not a serious problem.
Bukayo is one of those players that's he's getting played a lot, so you've got to start thinking, how do we look after him? Because he's a marked man, he is getting kicked a lot every game, and he does pick up little injuries, but he's always fit for the next game, and that just shows you the stature of the man, that he's always ready and he's always putting himself up there. But if he had a knock, they wouldn't play him. They wouldn't take that risk because he's an absolute diamond in that team.
Semedo's ball in, deflected. Akanji there again, and a chance for the strike, brilliantly denied. And wow, has scored! The treble winners, the league leaders, are beaten in the West Midlands.
The result against Wolves gives everyone hope and a little bit of confidence, knowing that it can be done. You had a player in Dawson marking Haaland, man-to-man, like took him out of the game. So it gives you a little bit of confidence, but everybody knows that if they're on form, they're formidable. As we saw last season, they seem to like go through the gears, and then when it gets to like the last quarter of the season, they hit top gear and then they just fly.
Premier League is difficult, and Leipzig was too, but it's different game, different approach. The approach for balls is completely different than Arsenal. It was the biggest rival last season. Like in the past, it was not there. They already arrived. They will stay there for a long time. And yeah, another game.
Gundogan, De Bruyne, Haaland. That could be that tonight.
It was tough last season for Arsenal against City. The 3-1 at the Emirates was pretty convincing. The 4-1 at the Etihad was even more convincing.
Here unleashed, shot unleashed.
But this is a great time to play City. You know, they're obviously not fully on form. They've got two big players out, De Bruyne and Rodri. So there's a chance. If we can play our best game and they have a little bit of an off day, then we've got a great chance of winning.
I think in this league, you have to be at your best every single match. We have managed to win a lot of games. Something that we have been better is when you cannot win, you don't lose it, except of a midweek in the Champions League. And that's why it requires to be every single 3 days, be at your best.
These are the games that test you as a player. You know, and you want to play in these games because you always ask yourself questions when you're in these, you know, can I perform under that pressure? You know, can I perform when it's really needed? And these games test that, and that's what it's all about. And, you know, to do well in these games gives you a real boost for the rest of the season.
Back for Watkins on a hat-trick, sets up Diaby, straight at Steele, and then he's deflected in for 3. Off a Stupinian, and Villa had scored 3 goals in 12 minutes against a side in the top 3. Ramsey, there's 5. Brighton blown away. Douglas Luiz, it's in for 6. A horrendous afternoon for Brighton.
Vanquished at Villa Park, Brighton have conceded more Premier League goals than any team outside the bottom 4. They're facing a demanding schedule with domestic and European matches, but those are burdens a successful club has to be able to shoulder.
Playing so many games in a row can happen to make mistake and to play bad. We have to keep the emotion we felt after the game this week because we are suffering a lot, but in the same way we have to forget and we have to move on.
We're in the right to expect a lot from this Brighton team, regardless of their first season in Europe or their 20th season in Europe. Whether they just broke into the top 6 or they've been in the top 6 forever, it doesn't matter so much. I think the expectations are fair, and the pressure that comes with it is fair as well. I want them to play well. I know they can play well. They've lost key players, but they still have really good players. They've got a really good manager. They are capable of great things, so I want to see consistency. I want to see them competing with Liverpool at the weekend.
To do justice to Brighton, however poor their defensive record, their attack has been stellar. 19 league goals, the most in the top flight. And they scored in big games, putting 3 past both Newcastle and Manchester United in convincing wins.
I'm sure the Zerbi would like more control, there's no doubt, because I don't think it's sustainable to score so many goals, and I think they will score forever. And if you look at their expected goals, which is 14, they've scored 5 more than what you expected them to score, really, in the chances that they had. But they also conceded a lot, as we said. 14 is far too many. 2 goals per game in the Premier League is not acceptable for a team like Brighton with the ambitions that they have.
Talking of ambitions, they don't come much bigger than those of Liverpool, who lost for the first time this league campaign at Tottenham last time out. The Reds visit the Amex this weekend.
Brighton had now, I think, a few results which didn't go exactly in their way, but that's a completely normal situation in the development. They had a lot of changes, lost top players, one of them we got, and still played incredible football. So we expect a really tough game against one of the best sides in the league.
They could play against anybody at the weekend. On the back of their mind, it would be like, okay, what happened last weekend has made us even more hungry to go out now and just blow whoever we're playing against in that game. And I think that's what they're going to do. Home and away, Brighton or Manchester City, Arsenal, Luton or Brighton, it doesn't matter so much. They will have that kind of extra motivation because of what happened at Tottenham.
It'll further spur them to overturn their recent record against Brighton, back-to-back losses in League and Cup. Alexis Mac Allister was involved in those 2 Seagulls victories. This time, he's a Red.
At the end of the day, Mac Allister leaves Brighton to go to Liverpool to get that step up in his career, to go and challenge for trophies, the Champions League, the Premier League, which is something that Brighton could not really offer him, and rightly so. The aim is top 4, top 6. The aim of Liverpool is a treble, a quadruple, a double, whatever, but he's lifting trophies at the end of the season.
Brighton are just 2 places and 1 point behind Liverpool. Roberto De Zerbi has rocketed into the Premier League with an explosive impact not unlike that of Jurgen Klopp. If his team keep pushing for the top 4, the Italian star will continue to rise.
Luton gave this a real go, but Burnley are up and running. Luton Town 1, Burnley 2.
Luton are fast learning what an unforgiving place the Premier League can be. Just 3 days after the euphoria of claiming their first ever victory in the competition away at Everton, the Hatters were brought back down to earth by fellow strugglers Burnley. The iconic Kenilworth Road has been much talked about. The Rob Edwards side remain winless at home. While this is of course a results-based business, his players seem determined to enjoy the journey.
There's a lot of players in this team that haven't had Premier League experience and never played against these teams, even including myself, which is why I think these type of games, I mean 12:30 as well, I believe, so it's like, yeah, that's kind of like what football's all about really, isn't it? You want to play in these type of games.
It's Porro! Oh, it's an own goal! Joel Matip has presented victory at the very last to Tottenham.
There is a growing belief amongst Spurs fans that this season could be oh so different. They even had luck on their side as they dramatically edged out Liverpool. They say a winning team is a happy team, and Ange Postecoglou has successfully blended good vibes with positive results in the early weeks of his tenure. Unbeaten on the Australians' watch, victory at Luton would ensure this is Tottenham's best ever start to a Premier League campaign.
David Moyes has led West Ham to a new level of football maturity. Whereas in the past the Hammers struggled to juggle multiple commitments, now the Europa Conference League champions are faring well in the Europa League, as well as sitting 7th in the domestic top flight. Jared Bowen, on 5 Premier League goals already, typifies a team successfully battling on several fronts.
It's tough in terms of Thursday, Sunday, but I think you look at the squad that we've got now, we've got that strength and depth in numbers. We've got quality in every position. I think personally and collectively as a team, it's been a really good start to the season. We've had some really good results, good victories, and then obviously for me to score goals is what I want to do. So yeah, it's been a really good start, and we want to continue that start that we've had.
Wednesday night was a pinch-me moment for Newcastle fans. The Magpies swept Paris Saint-Germain aside in their first Champions League tie at St James's Park in 20 years. They've also recaptured last season's sparkling form in the league. 11 goals scored and 0 conceded across 3 consecutive wins. Eddie Howe will hope to have Callum Wilson back for the trip to East London. He scored 12 times in his 13 games against the Hammers.
The clouds over Old Trafford rather reflected the mood as Manchester United hosted Crystal Palace last week. Another grey day on the pitch ensured this is their worst ever start to a Premier League campaign.
It's come right the way through and it's been hammered home magnificently by Joachim Andersen. With the boos ringing out around Old Trafford for Manchester United.
The last time United suffered consecutive league defeats at home, former boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer faced the sack soon after. Erik ten Hag will hope this is a storm that passes.
We dropped in levels and we fight against, but so we have to get back to those levels. And yeah, there are reasons for, but still, it's not acceptable. And we have to fight against it. And every team we put out, and they have to be on one page.
Brentford travel north, hoping to inflict the same damage as their fellow Londoners. The Bees have won just one game all season, but have also only been beaten twice. If Thomas Frank's side are to start turning draws into victories, they must become more robust.